MacGuffin's curse can be extremely frustrating, to the point that I'm giving up and never want to play a puzzle game again. But at the same time, I see myself returning to cope with the game's various challenges. It was first released 10 years ago, and now finally it appears on the Nintendo Switch. In this review of MacGuffin's curse, I discuss basic aspects of the game and how it's experienced on the Nintendo Switch. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, I post new reviews every week. I received a review copy of this game, and with that said, let's check out MacGuffin's curse. This game takes place in a really filthy city and can be described as a two-dimensional puzzle game with RP elements. If you're familiar with games like Lolo or the first Zelda game, then you may recognize yourself in MacGuffin's curse, but without the swords and such. You play a thief named Lucas MacGuffin who has gotten into trouble. He is broke and cannot afford to pay the rent, which led him to become a criminal. In order to keep his home, a landlord named Harvey asks Lucas to steal an amulet from the local museum. Pretty soon, however, he is stopped by the detective Strump, who urges him to find a badge and get hold of the amulet. After a while, Lucas finds the amulet, which sticks to his body and turns him into a werewolf. What will happen next? Yeah, this game is probably not based on a true story. Without spoiling, you meet some quirky characters who both help you and ask for help. The narrative can be quite entertaining, but it can be a little confusing. Usually there are many stories going on at the same time, and you have to concentrate on following the main plot of the story. I usually like puzzle games, and when it comes to MacGuffin's curse, I am not disappointed. This game delivers. The game's various puzzles are the best aspect of the game, and let me explain why. First and foremost, you have a balanced difficulty curve. In the beginning, it's mostly about getting used to how to move around different objects, learn how your character works and how the puzzles are constructed. You switch between playing as a human and werewolf. As a human being, you can swim, open doors and use computers. As a werewolf, you can move heavy objects, smash boulders and scare your opponents. This is very fun because you have to figure out how the different game styles relate to each other, when to play as a human, when to be a werewolf. At first the puzzles are quite easy, but after a while I discovered that they can be extremely complicated. Some puzzles took me several hours to solve, and this is so frustrating. You can see the solution, but you cannot solve it. I pulled my own hair. This game makes me bald. But when you solve a problem after many attempts, then it feels rewarding. You have achieved something, as if you were a genius, just to go to the next room and feel like a beginner. I also found the puzzles addictive. Sometimes I had to pause, do something else, and then come back and try again. It's hard to quit, probably because it's so fun to solve the game's various challenges, albeit sometimes frustrating. The puzzles are definitely the highlight of this game. The graphics feel outdated and uninspiring to look at, but it fulfills an important function. You play from a two-dimensional perspective and usually you're so busy solving puzzles that you don't even care what the game looks like. It's actually good that the objects you interact with look different. In this way it never gets sketchy, but I cannot say that this is a nice graphic experience. Look at the city, it's colored blue at night and the surrounding interior looks almost pasted. However, there are a lot of environments to explore. A museum, the city, a garden, a dump, and a few more places. There is an exploratory aspect of the game where you sometimes need to revisit places to talk to different NPCs or find useful items. Sometimes you get lost, but there is a useful map that makes it easy to navigate and teleport. I like this, but it would have been nice if there was a live map so you knew where you were in each area. A quick reference to Binding of Isaac. This is what I'm talking about. MacGuffin's curse works great in both docked and handheld mode. I didn't experience any crashes, but there were a few bugs that forced me to reset the game. For example here, for some reason the text box is bugged. I can't remove it, so I have no choice but to restart the game from the latest save. However, the game has both a manual and autosave function, so you never have to worry about redoing a lot of things. This is good. There is a menu system that contains various important things, for example the map I mentioned earlier, options where you can adjust the sound, evidence where you see all the material you have collected during the game. In addition, you can see different comics. These are simply different thumbnails that you can find everywhere. If you find enough images, a complete series is formed. These series describe the fate of different characters, pretty fun actually. MacGuffin's Curse is a game that offers many fun challenges. The puzzles are definitely entertaining and a little addictive, and the game has a good difficulty curve. In the beginning it's quite uncomplicated, but it gradually becomes more difficult. The graphics are not so nice, it feels a bit dated. The control is smooth, regardless of whether you play as a human or werewolf. It works well to move and interact with different objects. The game's characters can be a bit eccentric, and the dialogues are sometimes funny. In addition, there are lots of references and well-known quotes. I can recommend this game if you like two-dimensional puzzle games that also contain some exploration. Please subscribe to my channel for more reviews and other content. Have a good day. Bye.